All right, everybody, we are back for Handmaid's Tale Season 4, Episode 6, VOWS commentary. So, Stephanie and I have just watched the episode, and we're just going to have a conversation about it. And we did this last week, and we thought this was just going to be a one-off. But apparently the YouTube algorithm liked it, put it in front of some people, and we got views on it. So anyways, we're doing that again because holy crap. First of all, Handmaid's Tale's on fire. It is at the top of its game right now. So all this stuff with June being unsure if she wants to go back, the struggle, the moral relativism, it's all going 100 miles per hour. So without further ado, I'm Derek, your host, and I'm joined with Stephanie, who writes a lot of articles about Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, yes, I do.
All right, so start us off, Steph. What's the first thing that stood out to you?
Wow. What didn't stand out to me about this episode? Can I just say that I'm so glad that June is finally truly out of Gilead? I was not sure how they were going to play it in this episode. I thought that there was a chance the whole time I thought there was a chance she would go back, because how many times have we been through this before, right? How many times have they teased us with her possibly escaping and then her deciding, no, I need to stay. And I get it. Like, I feel like they sold her reasoning for wanting to stay and the heartbreak over Hannah so much more than they have previous times when she's struggled with deciding if she should stay or not.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, it really drove it home this time. Really, I mean, I had tears in my eyes several times. I'm so glad she's finally out of there. We're not going to be spinning the same storylines. The same June gets captured and June gets tortured, and we're going to have something new, and there's so much to explore.
Oh yeah, there's a sense to this where you don't feel like you know where it's going now.
Yeah.
And I love that. I like when a show does that to me, and I'm left wondering, like, where is the story going to go? I just checked. In fact, the way this episode ended, they bring in the title card, real hard and stuff, and it's right when June decides to stay. And I thought, is the series over? Was this a finale and I just didn't know it? So I went and looked at the other seasons. It looked like season 1 had 10 episodes. Seasons 2 and 3 had 12. So I don't know how many episodes we just watched episode 6. So hopefully we're looking at 6 more episodes, but possibly 4. Go ahead.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked up how many we have left, but yeah, we've still got a ways to go. So that's exciting.
So, okay.
I have no idea what to expect.
We started at the end. She chooses to stay. Let's work our way back from there. So, so the guy, there was a whole segment about her relationship with her husband
Luke.
With Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Luke. They did get married. There was the whole episode talked about the marriage. They were arguing about it. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Moira is arguing with June, saying, he cheated on his wife. Now, do we only know that because he cheated with June, or was he cheating with other women too?
I don't remember the details of that. I do recall that we do know he cheated with June, and that was, that was way back from like season 1. So it's been a while. But yeah, they had a less than stellar, to put it lightly, beginning to their relationship. And I thought it was interesting how they really delved on the problems that went with that. Moira was always a true friend to June and questioned if Luke cheated on his first wife, could he cheat on you? How do you know you'll be different? And how, and just being a real friend and bringing that up to her, and June then had that get in her head, and she and Luke had to talk about it, and it was a very good portrayal of the real issues they had back then, and how, and now you can see all these years later how Luke has stuck with her, talk about through sickness and in health, I mean, they've been separated, she's been tortured. I mean, all these crazy things have happened to them, and he has just been so true to her.
Yeah, he's fought for her every step of the way.
Yeah, he's fought for her.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Just, and it's yeah, that I just keep thinking about that last scene when she and Luke finally saw each other for the first time, and how so many other times, so many other movies, when people have been separated a long time and see each other for the first time, they're like loving, they're running into each other's arms, saying "I love you," hugging each other. June has been through so much trauma and so much abuse that Luke has to be so careful with how he approaches her the first time. He sees her after all these years, I mean, she's been through so much. He can't just rush up there and grab her and pull her into his arms right away, Has to be so cautious, because just who knows what she's okay with, what she's not okay with. He's so respectful, even from the first moment he sees her. And I don't know about you, Derek, but then when she was saying, "I'm sorry, it's just me," to him, that just broke me.
Yeah.
That was just heart-wrenching, She didn't bring their daughter home, and part of her is just, she's grieving that trauma and feeling like she's not enough, and that he's going to be mad at her maybe, which obviously he won't be, but just all those emotions came out. It was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's that whole scene where they looked at each other, there was like all these cuts back and forth. They're like, looking at each other for so long. And then, when she says that, it was so emotionally impactful. And then you gotta hand it to the actress and actor, because they just, man, I believed it. I believed every second of that scene, and it was, and that was part of what made it so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. They were very authentic in the way they acted that, and that did lend to its power. And to think that June just got free, she's in freedom now, she's away from Gilead, but this isn't elation that we're seeing with her. She's not screaming with joy. She's been through so much, and she has so many mixed feelings about leaving Hannah, that we're just seeing despair and sadness. And it just really, we're going to have some really powerful episodes ahead of us, I think, as we just see her navigating this new world and dealing with her trauma, and while she's now in Canada, where she's finally free.
Yeah, and let's not gloss over the whole plot with I just had her name on my mind. The woman she was just with, Patchai. Janine. Yeah, okay. So like Janine is right there with her when the bombing starts.
Yeah.
And she wakes up and she doesn't get a chance really to look for Janine, because Moira is too concerned to get her, away from there, basically. And, it's totally understandable. You can kind of see it from all sides. But of course, like, the fact is, in a lot of these movies, they don't really portray it very well in shows. But I think that they did here, and in a lot of ways. But, when a bomb goes off nearby, it doesn't have to hit you. And the things don't have to hit you. The concussion effect of the bomb going off nearby can be enough to scramble your brain. It's such a good point. It can hurt you in a lot of different ways. So she was right there in the middle of it. Who knows? I mean, she didn't even recognize Moira, so she could have been crazy for all she knew. and
Yeah.
not even have a friend there and just be
Such a good
imagining it
point.
all. So,
Gosh.
getting her off that battlefield. But okay, so they bomb the area right before the ceasefire. And then I guess we're supposed to believe that they violated the ceasefire with the second bombing.
I'm not positive, and I'm going to have to go back and watch maybe those scenes with captioning on, but there was this hint about how they needed to get out of there really fast. I don't know if they were in danger of the ceasefire ending soon, or if they really were concerned, rightly so, that Gilead would just bomb them before the ceasefire ended. And yeah, it did feel like there was some concern that there might have been bombing even out where the refugees were. It just felt very tense, and I mean, how can they trust Gilead, right? I mean, Gilead did this huge bombing right before the ceasefire began, when people were probably starting to head out there. There's just, yeah, and it seemed like there was a big sense of urgency to get out as quickly as possible. And those poor people, all of those people who wanted to get on the boat, those refugees who felt like if they didn't get on that boat, they might die. Oh my gosh. And
What a great
I know
scene.
yeah, what a powerful scene, right? This NGO wants to, stick with the rules so they can continue operating and not take anyone and just offer medical care. But I mean, if you can't even trust Gilead anymore, what is the point? It's just, oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
exactly. Right? Like, okay, so they violate. If I feel like they didn't give us enough information to know for 100% sure, but it looks like Gilead chose to violate their agreement. And if that's the case, like, why would you trust Gilead for anything else? I just, like, the whole, first of all, don't leave the food. They'll kill each other for it. Screw you. Like, leave the food. It's none of your business if they don't handle themselves, in the best way. Like, they could possibly handle themselves just fine and distribute those foods. You're going to make the call that then they won't be tempted to kill each other if there's no food to kill each other over. Just leave the food. That's ridiculous.
I agree.
Second of all, yeah, if they're gonna bomb after they said they're not gonna bomb, like, why aren't you smuggling people out? They already violated the rules, so why are you still going with the rules? You can't trust them. They're going to bomb
Right.
you. They're going to let you get all your resources out there, and then they're going to bomb everybody to hell, and you're going to be worse for the wear, and your war effort against them eventually comes to pass. I think this is going to enrage the rest of the world. I think everybody's going to, if they have the military might to spare, they're going to throw it at Gilead, and everybody's going to try to take them down because of this.
And I guess, no, I agree with you. I agree. I mean, you would hope, of course, look at what Gilead's done so far, and they're trying to play nice, I guess, because Gilead has a powerful army. I mean, I don't know if they have a powerful army to attack anyone outside of the continental United States or how that's set up. But, they seem to be worried about their striking back. But this NGO, I guess also, we saw that tense moment when they had to stop with the Gilead ships and get inspected before they crossed into, I don't even know how that works, because I'm just sitting here right now thinking about how Canada and the US share the same border, so I'm not sure where they were. I'm not, the geography of where the ship was going, I can't really picture in my head, but
Okay.
But it was near Chicago. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm bad with geography, but, I'm not sure why it was on a ship and not just like crossing a land border. But anyway, the point is they had to meet these ships for inspection. And I guess, they had no way of bringing the rest of the refugees. Like, she talked like they were making this big decision. But now that I'm thinking about this in real time, I'm like, well, they couldn't have brought the other refugees, right? because the ships would have stopped them anyway and would have seen them all and confiscated them, maybe even confiscated the ship itself, right? Like,
It doesn't, and let's not forget, like, the reality of a situation. Most of the time, these kinds of things, the country would like you to take their refugees away. They want to release them. They want to get them out of their hair. So I'm not saying that's every time, but it makes very little sense that Gilead would prefer to keep the rebels there.
That's such a good point. Well, and then I was thinking about this during the episode too. You know, Moira really put herself in a lot of danger to be on that mission, because they were all worried they were going to figure out it was June and demand June back. Well, Moira herself escaped illegally per Gilead's laws.
Wow.
You know? And so what would be to stop? I mean, she gave them her real name, I guess, because now she's in Canada and protected by them. But what would prevent Gilead from realizing that she used to be one of theirs and try to get and say, oh, no, she left illegally and she should come back too? You know, it seems like, you know, what she was doing took a lot of bravery and a lot of risk to put herself back there.
Yeah, Moira is such a badass. She is. They've really developed her character well, and now she's going into a war zone to bring aid.
She's a badass.
You know, are we to assume that she expected to find June? I mean, that's awfully hopeful. Like, she was just doing that out of the goodness of her heart to.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just the goodness of her heart. I mean, I'm sure in the back of her mind, there's always this little hope. Maybe I'll find June or one of the other handmaids, you know, that she knew over there. Of course, she and June knew each other prior and were very close. But that was probably just in the back of her head, you know, a little tiny hope. But mostly she was just there to do good.
Yeah.
And she had to fight to get June out of there. And not just other people. She had to fight June to get June out of there. Just the...
Huh. Yeah.
You know, I mean, remember when not only all the things she had to say to get June to leave Gilead itself and get on the ship, but also even when June was just out of her mind thinking she was going to take a boat, an escape boat, and go out in the middle of the ocean, and somehow that was a good plan.
Yeah, man. What a tale. What a tale. What a Handmaid's Tale. If I look uncomfortable, it's because I am a little uncomfortable, because I ate the biggest burrito tonight, and I have the acid reflux, and it is uncomfortable. But the show must go on. And so June, I had a comment about this.
June on the boat, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
June and Moira.
When they used her daughter against her and she sold out the other handmaids, she should have just tried to get out of Gilead as fast as possible at that point, because she was a liability to the resistance. She was always going to do that. They always had that leverage over her. So her whole mentality went from a greater good mentality to a very selfish mentality in that moment. And so, like, you know, her wanting to go back in those scenes, I was like, man, that would be terrible. They would just keep using her to destroy the revolution within Gilead.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't pretend to know how hard that would be for a mother being put in that situation, but like you said, she should recognize now that she's a liability and she can't go back in Gilead and fight within Gilead anymore. That's just not even a possibility. The moment she gets caught, like you said, she'll spill the secrets again. They have that leverage. They know what that leverage is. They know it works. It'll keep on working. And that also puts her daughter in more danger, too, in some ways.
And what's with Gilead and technology? It doesn't make sense to me. They have airplanes. They have fighter planes and bombers. They can do all these technologically advanced things, and yet they let the Handmaid slip right through because they don't have any facial recognition software or anything like that to identify people.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there was ever a storyline with a tracking device or not, but that's another one of those things I'll have to research because it's been a lot of years that this show has been on. But yeah, no, I mean, it is kind of crazy though what you talk about with facial recognition cameras and everything. You would think they would have all those at their disposal. There's a lot of things about Gilead I don't fully understand, even down to the meetings with the council meetings with Lawrence and Nick, and I think those took place in Boston, but we learned in a previous season that the seat of the government is still in DC. So there's a little confusion, like, are Lawrence is that council now running everything? That's a completely different episode, a completely different topic. But I'm still kind of bothered, and I went on Reddit to try to figure it out, and everyone on there was confused too. No one knew. So anyway, if anyone listening to this is wondering about the council and if Commander Lawrence and company are running everything now, I don't know. I really don't know.
We are a show-only podcast. We have not read the book. So,
and I'm not even sure how closely it follows the book. But yes, we do need to read the books, though. I mean, now there's a sequel, too.
Oh, yeah, and the sequel. All right, and thank you so much for joining us for this special Handmaid's Tale podcast. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.